So I have something here that will change your sector over sector in TROR game quite a bit, and it will make it so much easier to work with. So I will start off showing a couple of features that are less known in Mapster. So first of all, we need to include a script that we'll be using later. But first I will show one feature that is less known. So if you press quote X, you enable the shading preview. That is very well known, but also what is not really that well known is that if I select a sector in 2D mode and I go to 3D mode, it will actually show the sector that has been selected. Well, this is pretty cool because now it's actually makes it very easy to see what's happening in 3D mode. But something that is missing in Mapster is actually being able to select sectors in 3D mode. This is something that, for example, Doom mappers and others are very used to in Doom Builder, selecting sectors and sprites. Well, the script, what it actually does, if I press Shift and Space, I can actually start selecting sectors. And as you probably can figure out from this, it makes things like creating stairs and whatnot so much easier. So you can use Shift Space to toggle a selection of a sector, and then do whatever to raise and lower as needed. Okay, so we can raise and lower sectors, and you can use the right shift to get rid of the selection. That's pretty cool. One thing to keep in mind is that the sector shade preview doesn't, you don't see the selections as long as you're selecting sectors that have like a light thing attached to it. That is because the light palette swap takes precedence over the light preview itself. Okay, so let's continue to the main meat, what I wanted to do here. So in newest Mapster, let's start building up a little bit. So this is something that many are familiar with. So let's see if we create a sector here and extend it. We're just gonna make it go underneath. So this is a TROR sector. You go here, and if I press Ctrl-A, you get the automatic gray out, and you basically get to see the gray out, and then you can start modifying, like let's say edit this one or build a new sector here, and off you go. And this kind of works pretty well if you're dealing with simple geometry, but once you have like more and more complicated geometry, not to mention sector over sector, it starts getting very hard to work with. So the same thing applies. You can actually select the sectors here, as long as the TROR scene is here, you can actually select these sectors. And something that is less known in Mapster, you can actually select sectors. Let's say I select these sectors here, and I press Ctrl-R, it will reset the Z range to be those areas that are specific to that Z range. Okay, so we're getting somewhere here. So we can select the Z range, and we no longer have the iffy automatic gray out, which kind of works when it wants to work. So how can we go a little bit further? So let's say you're working on this upper area here. I'm just going to disable clipping here so I can go through the wall. Let's say you're working on this sector, and this is a mess, like you cannot see anything that's happening here. So we can actually do the Z reset range. I'm just going to select these. Again, because it has the light sprites, it's not going to show, but here you see it. And I press Ctrl-R, and we have the upstairs area. Great. And here's the secret. With the recent build of Mapster, if you press Ctrl-Alt-R, something crazy happens. So now we actually have the whole area here for us to edit. So now we have full control over the area upstairs, and we see nothing what's happening downstairs. So I can literally start building here as if the downstairs area didn't exist. I can grab these, for example, I can just move these around, and if I reset the Z range again, you can see that it's just completely missing. So I can basically start working with geometry as if the sector over sector wasn't there. And if I go to the stairs, the same thing is going to happen here, that I just have a wall where it used to be. And this basically allows you to work with areas independently without having to attach and reattach things. And this is where it gets really, really useful. So when you have TROR stuff, I can just go underneath here. I can, for example, have this thing here. I can extend, let's say I have this here. I can extend this one underneath here and go here. And let's say I want to pick this one here. Again, I can isolate it. I can start working on it. Let's say do this, 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 and this. And now I have the section underneath here. And this is also a common problem, like how do you separate these areas apart? So you want to work on this area. Well, the selection thing, there you go. You're fully independent doing and working on the areas that you want to work. So Ctrl-R is the reset, and then Ctrl-Alt-R does the gray out thing. Unfortunately, this is still a little bit buggy with the Duke 3D lighting, so you might need to use Ctrl-Z every now and then when it shows the stupid palette, night vision palette. But it is very easy to just Ctrl-Z. It's because the like deselection thing isn't working really well, so it's kind of expecting you to do it from 2D or something. This is something that was added like years ago. I think Helix added this preview thing. So it's never like fully operational, but yeah, now you can start working on TROR without the nightmare that's usually associated with it. And yeah, makes it very easy to work with. Let's see, I'm just gonna load, so map E4L8. Does it allow? Actually, I've never tried this. No, it doesn't allow. So let's see, E4L5, L9, yeah. So for example here, SOS hell, right? Let's try to find the player area here. It's because I'm using no clipping here, so it's a little bit harder. I want to work on this area, for example. So select this one, Ctrl-R, and now we're working on this floor pretty much isolated. Select this one, Ctrl-R, now we're working on that floor pretty much isolated. So what I can tell from working with Fury maps, this has completely changed like how I work with sector over sector. I never use like separate layers now. I can literally have like 4 different floors overlapping with TROR, sector over sector, or anything. Once you integrate it to your workflow, I hope you'll find it useful, because I mean, this simple change of just getting rid of the gray out in the first place, for example, just helped so much, and having the 3D selection. So the script, very simple. It's simply just allowing a selection and deselection of 3D stuff, and then the rest is just simply what already exists in the latest version of Mapster. Happy mapping.